How are you guys doing? This is Nick with Urbexcross, and I am out here in the middle of nowhere on a wonderful, frigid 5-degree day in Indiana. But that's okay, because I'm here to show you my first impression of my KTM 250 EXC-F. Now, I started riding just a year ago on a KLX 250, and that was a blast, man. That bike's super tame, nothing too crazy. It's geared super wide, so you're not gonna do any crazy wheelies or anything, and it taught me a lot of the basics of riding. But after a year of riding it pretty heavily, I just felt like it was kind of limiting me a little bit, and I wanted to explore a little bit more power, but not so much power like I'm gonna really get myself into some trouble. I decided to go get a KTM 250 EXC-F. Now, any of you guys who know anything about these bikes know that this is kind of hard to find. There's not a whole lot of these. And I was checking Facebook Marketplace for a while looking for one. And they're kind of a weird little unicorn, man. They're priced damn near the same as a KTM 350 EXC-F. And where that kind of runs into a problem is, if you're someone looking to purchase one of these brand new, most of the time people would say, hey, I'll just go with the 350. It's a little bit more power, a little bit more usable power for, like, you know, some dual sporting and things of that nature. So the 250s kind of faded out, and I don't even know how many of them they made. This one right here is a 2017, and I did my own graphics on it to somewhat make it look updated, a little bit more contemporary stylings to match the 2024, 2023 graphic treatment, just because, I don't know, KTM changes their graphics all the time, so you can sort of tell pretty quickly if the bike is like super outdated looking. And since it's a 2017, it's still a great bike, you know. It just because it doesn't have the newest stickers doesn't mean it's not a great bike. I just decided to update the graphics a little bit, and now it looks minty fresh. First impressions. All right, first impression. This thing had some pep to it for sure. I mean, the first time I rode it was when I went out to Illinois to actually pick it up, and it was geared really low. So first and second gear was like, I mean, it was snapping, dude, for sure. So I kind of struggled with that a little bit, but once I changed the gearing, I think I'm on a 14-tooth front sprocket and 48-tooth rear sprocket. And that really seemed to level things out and also get my top speed a little bit higher for doing some dual sport riding, which I thought was pretty important because I do a fair bit of riding on the road, and most people would never really take a 250 on the road that much, but I don't have a problem with it, especially with that gearing. I mean, it's really not all that bad, and I've personally enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, you kind of have to rev it out a little bit, but 6th gear is so low, and I don't feel like the engine's struggling super bad in 6th gear to at least do, you know, 65, 70 miles an hour. It doesn't really bother. Whereas in the stock gearing, oh my God, I feel like it was damn near 6th gear going 40 miles an hour, which was ridiculous. I've been loving it, man. It's a bunch more power than I'm used to. A lot more horsepower, but it's pretty usable horsepower. I don't feel like it's gonna rip my arms off at all. The power delivery is super duper smooth. You just kind of roll on the throttle, and you can even give it kind of a whole hand of throttle, and it's not just gonna whiskey throttle you off into nothingness. I mean, it's got some bite to it for sure. A lot more than my KLX did. It's nothing unreasonable, man. And for someone who's, like myself, been riding for only a year, I feel like this is really going to help me elevate my technique, my balance, and my ability with a slightly lighter bike, and also just a little bit more horsepower. So I've been having an absolute blast on it. I had the suspension changed, so I've got heavy-duty forks in the front and rear. Those are there to better suit my weight. I'm not the lightest looking dude in the world, so the bike definitely needed a little bit of a spring adjustment and shock adjustment to make that happen. But dude, I've been taking it off all kinds of stuff lately, and it doesn't even really struggle at all. Whoops. I've never really been able to ride whoops because one, I didn't have the horsepower to do it that well, and two, the KLX would just bog down so bad every time you hit a freaking bump. So this thing just, it'll hover right over. So I've been having more fun riding stuff like that, and also more technical stuff. Crossing logs, doing hill climbs. It's just another step up, you know, and I feel like my techniques are going to be able to grow a little bit more. But it's kept me humble too. I've crashed it a bunch already, especially off-road, just trying to find ways to get used to riding this thing. I know some of you are going to poo-poo me for this, but it did come with the Recluse auto clutch put on by the previous owner. I know what you're saying. I don't know, those things are super expensive, and I'm a little bit tight on money, so I'm not pressed to swap it out for the stock clutch. And I'll be completely honest, man, I'm starting to kind of enjoy it. I hate to say it. I don't want to be like an old fart here, but dude, it's like having an automatic bike, and especially when you're riding some technical stuff, sometimes it really comes in handy. Sometimes I am in the wrong gear going up a hill, and it'll still keep me going and not have me crash. So if you're trying to stay safe and not trying to crash a bunch, a Recluse auto clutch is really going to save you a lot. But if you're trying to really perfect your technique with clutching and hill climbs and things of that matter, this may set you back a little bit, but I honestly wouldn't really avoid it. I mean, your body position is like the biggest thing. The clutch still works. I mean, you still have a clutch. I know some people are a little confused with these, but with the Recluse clutch, you still have a freaking clutch, man. You can still clutch up, you can still do wheelies. You know, this is the Midwest Mountain Engineering clutch lever, and I have the same one on the brake side, but yeah, man, I mean, it still operates like a regular bike. The only real change that you have to get used to is kind of like the engine braking. You have to be a little bit up on the RPMs to engage some of that engine braking. So, you know, if you're going down a hill and you want to put it in a lower gear to sort of slow your hill descent down, I usually just hold the clutch, do a little blip of throttle, and then let off the clutch, and the engine braking is engaged and it'll work regular. So that was something that was a little bit different to learn for me, but after 2 rides, you know, it's muscle memory and you're good from there. So yeah, man, first impressions, absolutely loving it. There are moments where I wish I had a little bit more power when I'm going a little bit faster. So if I'm in 4th gear, for instance, it doesn't really clutch up all that much. But honestly, just to be safe, I don't really need to be doing clutch wheelies in 5th and 4th gear, to be completely honest. So, you know, I think it's a smart decision having a 250. If you have a 250 EXCF, or a 350 EXCF, or even a 500, drop in the comments why you chose that bike, things you like, don't like about it, and just kind of give me some feedback on what you think of this thing. And if you've ever ridden a 250 EXCF, or, you know, a Yamaha 250, and how that compares, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback on that. I also installed Lucca tubes on the front and rear tire. Front wheel as well, I'm running a Kenda Trekmaster 2, and on the rear tire, I'm running a Tusk D Sport, which, my God, dude. Imagine putting a Tusk D Sport on in a frigid garage with your buddy when it's literally freezing outside, and having to put Lucca tubes in that. If you don't know what a Lucca tube is, Google it. There's videos of people literally taking a machete and hacking into these tubes, and then they pump the air right back up. It's a super duper thick inner tube. But I've been loving them, man. The pros of that is that you can run super low air pressure, and then you can also air the pressure up if you want to ride on the road. So it doesn't have slow leaks kind of like a tubeless system would. I had tubeless on this originally from the previous owner. It was cool, it's great technology, but man, I hate checking 4 valves every time before I ride. Every day when you ride, you got to check your pressure, maybe even twice a day. And I just hated that, man. That's too high maintenance for me. And I don't know, man. I like to kind of set it, forget it, and go up and just kind of touch the tire and make sure I got some air in there and go for a rip. And, you know, low maintenance is good for me. These KTMs are a decent bit on maintenance as well. On the subject of maintenance, actually, a lot of people shit on KTM for the amount of maintenance you got to do. But, dude, I'm going to be completely honest with you, dude. I am not a mechanic by any means. By any means. But KTM makes it very, very easy to work on these bikes. Very easy. A simple thing like an air filter change, an oil change, replacing your rear shock, you know, swapping out your front springs, all of that stuff is super easy, man. You can watch like a 5-minute video and just do it. Whereas some other bikes, there's a lot more involved. There's a lot more things compacted in, and they just make it difficult. KTM makes these things race ready. They make them to where if you're in a race, you need to swap your rear shock, 10 minutes, you're done. Other companies, man, it could take a long freaking time to change a rear shock or something like that. So I've been really learning a lot about this bike and also how to work on it, and that's been a blast for me. I honestly have been afraid of wrenching for quite a while. I'm not that good at it, but every time I've cracked into this thing, I'm just grinning from ear to ear at how the engineers and the designers fabricated and made this thing to be so easy to work on, man. So let's ride it a little bit. We've got a little hill over here, got a little hill over here. Nothing too crazy. So yeah, let's hop on, go for a little rip. Yeah. I'm thinking about making some sort of a kind of single track playground up in this area over here. There's a lot of cool trees and logs, and I think it'd be pretty cool to make a little course that we can just run up and down the hill and practice different techniques and stuff. So who knows, maybe in the next couple weeks or months I'll have something like that formulated out. But this thing is also pretty modded. The previous owner took the reeds out in the airbox. I've got all kinds of different little mods here and there. So if you'd like to watch like a mod video on this thing of what all myself and previous owner have done to this bad boy, let me know in the comments. There we go. There we go. That is quite the hill, man. Now down we go. There we go. Can I try a wheelie in the snow? Such a fucking blast. Hey, look, some little deer guys. Dang, a big old buck over there, too. Wow. They are watching me. Do any of you guys ride in the winter? Or am I just insane for riding out here when it's 5 degrees outside? I've just been cooped up for like 2 weeks, man. I haven't been able to ride at all. I meant to tell you guys, my girlfriend actually just picked up her first ever bike. It is a Honda CRF 250F. It's the trail bike. She might dual sport it in the future with the street legal kit, I'm not sure, but I've taken her out on a few rides, and you know, she may make an appearance on the channel. We'll have to wait and see. But she's doing a good job, lots to learn. Thankfully, off-road riding is going to be like what she's used to, which is a good thing to practice on because it's a lot of different terrain, a lot of surfaces to ride on, a lot of off-camber stuff. So I feel like you learn the most off-road compared to on-road. On-road, you literally just kind of hold on and give it throttle, and it's kind of, I don't know. Off-road's definitely a lot more fun in my opinion. Roads are cool though. Twisties are nice and fun, but especially this cold in the winter, there's probably a frozen patch of snow somewhere. You gotta be mad careful. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Yeah, see, tires are just spinning right there. They salt these a lot, but I'm still not convinced that I wouldn't just slide around like crazy. Yeah, see right there, just spinning. in that Mustang was like, what the hell going on out here, man? Not gonna lie, I've been loving these double take mirrors as well, man. Just being able to fold it, tuck it right down in here whenever I'm not using it. Pretty freaking handy, man. And it's a pretty big mirror size over here too, to be able to see what's behind you pretty well. This is our little hard enduro practice spot over here. That shit's tough. Alright, you guys, I was gonna wrap this video up, my dudes. Appreciate y'all liking, commenting, subscribing. Keep that shit up. Let's make Urbexcross way more prevalent, you guys. Appreciate the support, for real. Y'all are the fucking best. Peace.